What's up, y'all? Happy Money Monday. John Melton in the house with MyLifestyleAcademy.com. And I've got Mr. Justin Weeks. I've got Miss Jordan LeVeck in the house. And I just want to let you all know, these are two of the best recruiters in our entire global organization, two of the top leaders. And, we're going to talk today about how to recruit, leveraging social media, how to go out there and build a team. And look, it might not be just about social media per se. Like, we might talk a little bit about mindset and strategy and some different things, but I want you to understand that this training today is going to help those of you that are wanting to build a team, you're wanting to recruit, you're wanting to go out there and enroll humans to create some leverage in your business. See, the one thing that I learned 20 years ago when I first got involved in network marketing, yes, it's been 20 years. In fact, I'll have my 20-year anniversary later this year in September for my very first meeting when I got started in network marketing. And the one thing that I learned 20 years ago that excited me about this profession is that you can create leverage. The wealthy have business ownership. They leverage themselves through the time and efforts of other people. And look, how many of us know people that know more people than us? We know people that live in different cities, states, and countries than us. In fact, I'll tell you this, there's a lot of people that get involved in network marketing that are just part-time, spare time, wanting to make extra money, but they get lucky. How many of us have seen people get lucky? They get involved in their network marketing business to make some extra money, and they end up enrolling a rock star, a top producer, and they're making money off someone that makes more money than them. How many of us would be excited about that? And what I can tell you is that we're all looking for a Justin Weeks. We're all looking for a Jordan LeVeck. But the truth is, you don't recruit high caliber people until you become a high caliber person. And even if you get lucky, you're typically not going to get lucky multiple times. And how many of us want to build more than one team? How many of us want to go out and build 10 teams, 20 teams? We want to go out there and create some massive momentum inside of our network marketing business. And look, I don't care if you're selling lotions, potions, pills, water filters, skincare, hair care, cleaning products, knives, bowls, beads, pots, pans, jewelry. I think we can all agree that we want people within our organization that are high caliber people that have integrity, people that have a work ethic. In fact, if you're taking notes, and you might have heard me say this before, you're looking for people with WHIP. WHIP. And no, I'm not talking about a car or a whip. I'm talking about people that have work ethic, hunger, integrity. And if you can get that fourth one, personal power, you will build yourself a dream team. I'm telling you right now, we're actually on pace to have the second biggest month. This month, we're on pace to have our second biggest month in our network marketing career. And none of that would be possible if it wasn't for the team, if it wasn't for incredible leaders like Justin, like Jordan, like all the incredible people we get to work with every single day. But it starts with you, my friend. No one's going to join your team until you start talking to people. Until you get good at talking to people, you're not going to recruit quality people. See, quality people partner with quality people. Like I said, you could get lucky. That is the reality. But even getting lucky, you still got to open your mouth. You got to get really good at this conversation of recruiting. And these are two of the best recruiters that I know. And I think it's awesome too, because, both of them have different backgrounds. Both of them have different strategies. Obviously, we got Justin, the dude. We got Jordan. She's going out there and building a team of lady bosses. I mean, it's unreal what she's done in the last 6 weeks. With just TikTok, I think she's up to almost 180,000 followers. Is that right, Jordan? 180,000 followers in 6 weeks on TikTok. Justin's an individual that built, a business that earned him over 7 figures in 8 years in a previous company, mostly not using social media, right? Going out there and building a team the old school way, a lot like Nadya and I did. But because of the relationships, because he worked on himself, he's created this incredible business. He's consistently recruiting people every single month. And here's the other thing. Last year, he partnered up with us. It was last August. And he was the number one enroller, number one recruiter, along with his wife, Aaliyah, right? The two of them recruited more people than anyone else in our entire organization. And they started in August. So two of the best recruiters, two of the best builders, and both of them are definitely leveraging social media. So let's get into this conversation. I'd highly recommend you share this with anybody you know inside the network marketing profession. As we always do on Money Monday, this is totally generic. So it doesn't matter what company you're representing. We will keep it generic. We'll help you out when it comes to enrolling, recruiting, team building, all the things. So I'm excited. Jordan, are you excited?
I'm excited.
Justin, are you excited?
I'm very excited.
Awesome. All right, so let's get started. I'm just going to have both of you on the screen at the same time so we can just kind of bounce off of each other. So first of all, maybe both of you could start off with just like a 2-minute introduction, share your backstory and kind of how you got to this point inside network marketing. I think that'd be awesome. And Justin, maybe if you want to start, and then we'll go to Jordan.
Okay, sure thing. So yeah, guys, I'm in my late 30s, live in Lake Charles, Louisiana. It's the southwest part of the state. My wife, Aaliyah, and I, my background's in law enforcement. So a friend of mine that I served in Iraq within the military actually introduced me to the profession 8.5 years ago. Wasn't looking for anything. I was working for the Louisiana State Police, working all the time. I was a SWAT operator, taught the defensive tactics. I was just never home. My son has autism. I have 3. My wife has 2, so we're a blended family. But just wanted to be more of a present father. And I wanted to be able to provide better than I was doing. So, when I saw the lifestyle that this profession could bring, I couldn't sleep. I got excited about it and got started and never stopped. And glad to be where I'm at today, partnered up with John and Jordan and so many awesome leaders. So,
and it's been what, you said like 8 or 9 years?
Yeah, July 20th of 2012. So yeah.
Nice. Awesome, man. Congrats.
Thank you.
So I've been in the industry for 8 years too. So that's funny. And then John has both of us beat. He has like maybe both of ours. That's how long he's been in the industry, as long as both of us combined. But anyway, it's you guys, we all have J names. We are J cubed today. Is that correct? Math lingo?
Yes. J monies.
No. But anyway, yeah, all the J monies. That's right. That's what I call John. All right. So anyway, I've been in the industry for about 8 years now. Yes, I did not start where I'm at right now. I started in another company and I was kind of like an infamous spammy butthole. Like I just chased everyone down. If they were breathing and alive, they were going to get recruited. With my perspective, that's what I was taught, was just to chase everyone down, to beg people to join my business. And it worked to a certain degree, but it just sucked. It did not feel well in my soul. And what ultimately brought me where I am now is I wanted to learn how to market correctly. I wanted to learn how to attract people to me and not feel like I was chasing people down. And I love TikTok for that now, which is a brand new thing. But yeah, no, I absolutely love this industry. I was a personal trainer before I got started here, lost 155 pounds. And the reason I love it is because basically I can help an unlimited number of people with this industry. It takes the ceiling off of how many people you can help, not just the people you can see in a day. So if you're someone who loves helping people, this industry is perfect for you. And that's why I started. That's why I'm still here. And I'm really excited to talk to you guys today more about one of my favorite things, which is recruiting, which y'all need to stop being afraid of that word. Let me just say.
No, it's such a good point, right? People are just like, oh, recruiting, like that sounds terrible. And it's like, look, you look at corporate America, you look at the military, like they're always recruiting a few good men, right? It's like they're always recruiting. You look at professional sports teams. Dude, they never stop recruiting. They're never satisfied with the team they have. They're always thinking about the future. And the key to success in this profession is to start new teams, especially if somebody tells me, well, my team isn't doing anything, or, I'm stuck at this rank. It's like, great, well, time to start some new teams. Now, of course, people will also say, well, I'm trying. We're going to help you try harder. We're going to help you become more efficient and more effective. Smash the heart button if you'd like to 10X your business in 2021. In fact, I wish I could smash it because I want to 10X my business. We're looking to get to 10 million a month. I think it's always important for us to stretch ourselves, to start new teams. And it's funny, Jordan, when you talked about the pulse, I remember back in my network marketing company, we would say, listen, if you want to know if you should approach someone about your business, put a mirror under their nose. And if it fogs up, put them down on your list, right? Check their pulse. Alive. Right. If they're alive, you're going to talk about the business. And look, to some respect, that's true when you're first getting started. You want to talk to everybody. But I think we can all agree that if we have limited time, we'd rather talk to people that are interested in talking to us. Now, it doesn't always work out that way, but if I'm going to reach out to someone, I'd rather reach out to someone that's already engaging in my content. It's someone I already have a relationship with. Like personally, I don't want to message people I've never spoke to and hit them up and pitch them on an opportunity or a product. I'd rather attract them to me. And look, you got to do both sometimes. That's just the reality. Like someone told me earlier, like, hey, my business isn't where I want it to be. And I'm like, well, how many people have you popped the question in the last 7 days? How many people have you reached out to in the last 7 days? Because ultimately, if you're not proactive in your prospecting, then you're going to be reactive in your results. And I think a lot of us, we want people to come to us. In fact, if you pay attention to some of the training we're going to give you today, you can make that happen. But I think we can all agree that you have to make things happen in order to get the results. And that proactive reach out is a big strategy, but it is better if they're already engaging with your content, right? They're already looking at your stories. They're already posting or commenting on your posts. So I'm excited to get into it. And Justin, maybe you could start off with sharing with us, because you're a consistent recruiter. For you, are you doing more proactive reaching out? Or do you have a lot of people coming to you because you're always sharing your story and posting positive content on social media? What would you say it is? Or is it a combination?
It's definitely a combination of the two. You know, early on when I got started, I had to be proactive. I had no influence, no credibility, especially as far as this profession goes. And I just I worked so hard to get this business off the ground. You know, I was just planting seeds, and I understood I couldn't plant a garden and eat from it the next day. I knew the end goal. I knew the lifestyle people had in this profession. And I was just one of those people, like, I wasn't designed just to go to work, pay bills and die. And if there's a way, like, I didn't need easy, I just needed possible. So I just started working. And throughout the process, built a team, which, in my last company hit levels of recognition and got, started to gain influence, personal development, started to gain, credibility by being able to add value, put myself out there. But ultimately, like you said, you just got to get people's attention. They don't know what you're doing unless you either talk to them or add enough value for them to talk to you. But one way or the other, I was planting seeds, and I've never stopped since. So
I love it. Yeah, you're a big relationship builder, and I know you're all about having like quality relationships with quality people. And I see you putting out content on social media, and I see you, connecting with people. And I know you're just like, hey, matter of fact, like, I'm not here to beg you. I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to share some information, and I can tell you always have really good posture. And I think sometimes we forget the importance of not having commission breath, right? Like, I know when we're new to network marketing, we're a little bit desperate. We're a little bit too eager, right? And it's a lot like dating. Now, it's been a while since we've dated, all three of us, right? But I think we can all remember dating, right? Smash the heart button if you remember dating, or maybe share with me like your favorite emoji that would compare your dating life in the comments to have some fun. But, I know for me, and I know for most humans, even if you find someone attractive, if they're very eager, desperate, pushy, it's a major turnoff. Right? It's the same thing in business. It's like, if the business is so great, then why are you trying so hard to sign me up? Right? And I think that posture is so crucial when you're showing up on social media, when you're having conversations, and it's funny because sometimes I'll hang out with friends, I'll connect with people on social media, and they're almost shocked that I'm not like pitching them on my business, because that's their perception of most network marketers, that they have this stinky commission breath. Anyway, and we don't want to be spammy buttholes like Jordan talked about. So Jordan, for you, right, I would love for you to maybe talk about, like, you've consistently crushed it prior to TikTok.
Thank you.
But then you got on the TikTok, and I know you
Techies.
doubled your customer base in 6 weeks, which is ridiculous, right? Because you already had a huge customer base. So you doubled your customer base. You've recruited a whole bunch of people, a slew of people. And the other thing that I love is that now your team is duplicating it. They're crushing it, which is the main reason we want to lead by example, even if there's something you're not really excited about, like TikTok, but you're like, you know what, let me get on it so I can at least understand the basics to teach my team. And then obviously it blew up for you because you're just you're very good at communicating, but you're also really good at, like, being vulnerable, sharing your story and explaining how to do things. So maybe you could talk about kind of your hesitation of TikTok, and then what you did to add 180,000 followers in 6 weeks.
Okay. I can do this. So first of all, John Melton is a reason why I did TikTok, because you probably, you know what? Let me just say, you probably feel a little bit like I felt before I got started on TikTok, which is like, no, absolutely not. I refuse. I will not dance on a video and try and sell my soul so that I can, like, get some more sales, right? I thought it was just a bunch of kids dancing online, and that was not about that life. Like, I very, very famously danced like a white dad at a barbecue, so I did not want to do it. But John is a very good leader, okay? Because he is someone, I don't know if y'all noticed, but he's literally always leading from the front. He's always doing all the new things, right? All the things the cool kids are doing. And he's always stretching us to do things that make us uncomfortable, which obviously, if you are in this industry or just if you are alive, you should probably be stretching yourself. You should probably be doing things to help you grow, and it's going to be uncomfortable. Like my goal every day is that I do at least one thing that scares me. That's my goal every day, because that means I'm getting better, right? New things are scary. So I kind of just kept pushing away. And then I just kept seeing John posting viral TikToks and other people doing videos that were blowing up. And I was like, I want a viral video. I want to blow up. So anyway, what really changed the game for me was when I stopped looking at it like, I'm going to go on TikTok and go viral, or I need to post a viral video. And I started thinking, how can I show up and show someone online that has literally no idea who I am something that would help them? Like, how can I produce some kind of content that would be valuable to a stranger online? And that's honestly how you should show up on every social media platform, right? But TikTok, you have to be creative about it because you have a minute or less to give like something that will make someone laugh, something that will inspire someone, right? Or something that will entertain someone or educate. And again, this is what we're doing on all social media in general. That's what creating value is all about. Just like making someone laugh, giving someone something that will help them grow. So I decided to just show up and have literally zero expectations with if it would go viral, if it would blow up. I think when people get on TikTok, they struggle because they're like, oh, I did another video and it didn't blow up. I'm like, okay, but you have the wrong mindset about it. The goal is not to have your video blow up. The goal is to fail forward and learn and get better the same way you do with anything. So if instead you can shift your perspective to, I'm going to learn and I'm going to have fun, because TikTok is really a place for fun, you guys. Like just have a good time. And I do have some very specific tips I can give for sure if you want about the TikTok stuff, but I did do a live on my page the other day. You guys can also go watch too. But once I switched my perspective to, all right, I'm going to show up, I'm going to fail forward, I'm going to recreate viral videos with my own spin, right? And I'm going to try and contribute value, something that a stranger could see and it would potentially help them. It just started exploding. And I've literally been repeating the same formula over and over and over and over. And I have 10 people have gotten started from TikTok since then. And these are all people that came to me. So I'm a little bit obsessed with it. And now I'm like, if it makes you uncomfortable, it is a good sign that you should probably do it. Have zero expectations, right? Divorce from the outcome, marry the process, but just show up and have fun and do it. Because I have never seen a platform where you could grow so exponentially in such a short amount of time. You may fail, but all it takes is one viral video, one video that blows up and helps enough people. And it can be a total game changer.
Well, one of the things I love with you on TikTok is that you decided, you know what? I'm just going to talk to the camera. I'm just going to have a conversation. I'm going to share stories, right? I'm going to give value, give tips. Like, it's like I always say, I'd rather lead with education than lead with selling and pitching. Now, the one objection I've been getting recently, they're like, well, I haven't lost a whole bunch of weight. Like, I don't have a weight loss story. What would you tell someone? Because I guarantee you've heard that as well. What would you tell someone that wants to start using TikTok and even forget TikTok, just in general, they're getting started in their network marketing business. They're maybe new to the product. They're new to the business. They haven't really created a story. I know what I say, but I'd love to hear you on your perspective on someone that hasn't created a weight loss story or doesn't have some crazy story to share that could get people's attention.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, I've heard that quite a bit. I've heard that quite a bit, not just on TikTok, but in general. People are like, well, I don't have this big crazy weight loss story to share. Or, you know, I went through some hard things when I was younger, and John was saying that I share my story a lot, like with regard to what I've overcome in my life, where I started, where I'm at now. Storytelling in general is so important in marketing, but in this industry, because people relate to stories, right? Facts tell, stories sell. That's just the truth. As a human being, what do you care more about? The ingredients in a product or what it's going to do for you? And stories just kind of show you what the potential is with whatever it is, the service or the product. So you don't have to have a crazy story or a crazy testimony. Here's the truth. My story is actually kind of like unbelievable to a lot of people. My story is actually not relatable to a lot of people. So in a way, a crazy testimony can be something that's like intimidating to other people or not relatable. Your story, for exactly what it is something that will help the right people, the people who are your audience and who have the same struggle that you do. It's different than mine. It's different than John's. It's different than Justin's. But the idea is you're sharing where you started, where you're at now, and where you want to be in the future. That's exactly how you share your story on social. Like before I found this opportunity, I struggled with this, right? Since I started, these are the benefits. These are the things that it's done for me. And because of this, this is where I'm headed. I'm so grateful. That's a perfect outline for sharing your story in general. But where you're at, your point in your journey, so many people will be able to relate to that. And it has nothing to do with if it's a big deal. It's a big deal. If someone wants to make an extra $100 a month, that's a big deal. Like it doesn't have to be flashy, right? Just something that other people need and your authentic truth. So I think it's important that you're not trying to like duplicate other people. Like your version of whatever made the biggest difference for you in your life, someone else is going to need that. So you have to be like not worried about compare-itis, looking left and looking right. Okay, because your story, other people need to hear it.
Right. Amen. And the other thing I was going to say too is, remember to talk about why you're doing something, because even if like you haven't created the results yet in your business, in the products, on the products, talk about why you're excited about the products. Talk about why you're excited about the business, why you chose this company without saying the name, right? Publicly, right? So you just you create that open loop like we always talk about. You create that open loop. It's like the preview to a movie. Don't ruin the movie, right? You want to tell them just enough information. We're going to buy a ticket. You want to tell them just enough information to get them to say, what is it? Tell me more. I want to check it out. I'm curious what the product is. How much does it cost, right? And the beauty on TikTok is when someone asks you that question in the comments, you can respond, right there in the comments, or you can respond with a new TikTok video. Now, we did do a training a couple weeks ago as well and had 3 huge TikTok producers on here. We talked a lot about that, so I'm not going to dive too deep. Jordan also, like she said, she has a training on TikTok. So if someone says, I want more TikTok training, we have other trainings that you can absolutely access. But the bottom line is, like any other platform, you just have to start playing with it. You have to start showing up. And I think the biggest reason people struggle in the beginning, and you kind of mentioned this, but they're trying to be someone they're not. They have that imposter syndrome. And that's really tough on social media when you first start doing videos, when you first start putting yourself out there, because you're being a try-hard, as some of the kids would call it, right? And I think when you just say, you know what, I'm just going to talk to the camera. I'm going to talk about my story. I'm going to be myself. And even if I don't attract a lot of people, I'm going to attract the kind of person that resonates with my message, with my story, and who I am. So that's one thing. The other thing is you could share other people's stories, y'all. You don't have to have the story. You could talk about Justin's story, Jordan's story, or other leaders in your company, or other success stories from the products. And that's the other neat thing with TikTok is you could do these duets, right? Where you can show someone else's TikTok on your page. Anyway, I don't want to go on a whole tangent about it, but I'm just telling you that is a platform where you can get in front of a cold audience. Unlike I've been on social media aggressively for 8 years, and I've been on social media technically recruiting and using it as a prospecting tool since 2006 when I was on MySpace. So, y'all, I'm telling you, I've seen every possible social media platform. I've used most of them. I've never seen anything like this platform. It is redonkulous. So if you're not on there, that's up to you. But if you just hate money and you hate leads and you hate generating cold market, then get off TikTok. But if you want
to say one other thing,
get on it.
Sorry to interrupt you, John. I want to say one other thing too about TikTok, because you and I actually talked about this briefly. I think one of the things that really holds people back, specifically leaders back from getting on TikTok, is your ego.
Yep.
And as John always says, your ego is not your amigo, but you think you master one platform and you don't want to start over again.
Right.
You're like, ooh, but I'm really good on TikTok, or maybe it's Clubhouse or whatever it is that you love. I felt good on Facebook. Like I didn't have to transition. I was doing pretty good, right? I sold 50,000 in customer sales in a month on Facebook. So I was like, do I really need TikTok though? Like everyone else is blowing up. Your ego, that's your ego. You don't want to fail. You don't want to have to start over with no following and not knowing what the heck you're doing. But guess what? Your team needs to see you do that. Your team needs to see you start over and fail forward and not crushing it for a while like a normal human. Oh, wow. Right? Because that's inspiring. The reason my team is now on TikTok is because they just saw me like really suck at it for a while, and then it blew up. And they're like, well, dang, maybe there's something going on over there. So you have to lead from the front and do things that are uncomfortable. Don't let your ego get in the way of trying new things.
Sounds like network marketing. right? I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
how many people get involved in network marketing and they're just like, too cool for school, don't want to reach out to people and feel embarrassed. And, they don't like their friends and family making fun of them, right? Like how many of us had that happen to us and we almost quit? Or how many of us watching this right now, that's going on with your business currently? Like you don't want to post on social media. You don't want to reach out because your brother-in-law makes fun of you or your coworkers make fun of you. Who gives a rip? Do they have freedom? Do they have the bank account that you desire? I mean, look, network marketing is one of the only professions where you can go out there and build an MBA, a massive bank account, without having to have a college degree, without having to have a traditional business with tons of overhead. Like it is limitless. Like the kind of money that I make in my network marketing business, I should have like hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in overhead or some ridiculous, like hardcore, like I should have an MBA from like some really good school. And I don't. I dropped out of community college. Like anybody can do this, but the key to success is you have to be willing to start small. You can't be too embarrassed. And even if you're embarrassed, just do it anyway, right? Even if you're fearful, do it anyway. Embrace the suck, y'all. And in fact, I can tell you, Justin has that type of story as well. Like he walked away from a business, had to start all over. It was super difficult. It was a big change, right? He wasn't wanting to make it, but he also wasn't wanting to remain in the place he was in any longer. So he cut the cord. He made the decision. He had some people that disagreed with that, people he cared about. It was a tough decision, but here he is winning big time, winning more than ever before, but he had to make that really tough decision to start all over. And it ain't easy, but it is worth it. So Justin, maybe you could talk about like if someone's wanting to launch or relaunch their business and they're wanting to go on a recruiting run, what would you tell that person to get after it and really have that massive action mentality?
You nailed it just a few minutes ago when you were talking about why. To be real transparent, I was very honest and authentic about why I made that decision. And I think people respected that. So, Simon Sinek has a TED Talk, it's How Great Leaders Inspire Action. He has a couple books about it too, but it's about leading with why. He says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And Jordan nailed this earlier too, with just talking about when you're sharing that story, when there's no substitute for authenticity and passion. And right. When people are listening to you and like, wow, and they relate to your struggles more than they do your successes. So when you're just honest about it and say, look, here's where I was, here's why, I had these struggles. And then this is what bridged the gap. This is why I'm excited. You relate to them. So you want them to feel understood more than they understand you, I guess, because like a lot of people, they share all their successes. Oh, I'm making this much money. I'm doing this, this, and this. And they're sitting back thinking, so what? Like, or good for you. But when they're responding in their head with me too, wow, I'm dealing with that same thing. When they're responding to that story and then they can relate, then now you can take them on that journey with you. And then they're like, hey, this is where I'm there too. And I want to be where you're at now. Can you take me along on that ride? And then, when you're growing yourself personally, consistently, and they feel that you can add that value and you're so sure about where you're going, and you carry that confidence, you exude that confidence saying, hey, here's where I was, but here's where I'm going. And a lot of people that are starting their network marketing journey, they're like, look, I'm fired up. That ignorance on fire. They're like, hey, I see it. I've watched these people. This is where I'm going. And you can come with me if you want. If not, hey, it's all good. But I'm going, and I'm going to love you either way. But, then they're like, hey, I want to come with you. Like that, you're casting that vision. Like, here's where I'm going. Here's where I was. And it freaking sucked. But I found this, and this is where it's going to take me. And this is where we're going. And, if you want to come along for the ride, let's go.
Now, Justin, how do you build up? How would you recommend someone else build up the confidence, that posture? Because obviously you have that now. Did you have that when you first got started? Did that take some time to build up? And what would you tell someone that wants to build up that type of confidence and belief, not just in the business, in the company, but in themselves?
I think it's when your mind's made up that like, I think a lot of people, the only reason they don't have the confidence that they should have. And to answer your question, I had confidence in the fact that I knew I didn't care how long or how hard it was going to be or how long it took, I knew I was going to go. So I had that confidence, but I didn't already have the results. So it's maybe a different confidence that I carry today. But when you have a decided mind, like people understand when you're talking to them and you're looking them dead in the eye, like, hey, this is a big deal and I'm all in. And like, whether or not you do it or not, like I'm going. And I love you. I love you the same whether you do this or not, but I'm going to go make this happen. I'd love for you to do it, you know, come along with me. It's just having that decided mind. And here's the thing. A lot of people try to get someone to believe something when they don't truly believe it themselves. And I think that's that inauthentic, that it's not congruent. So, because people feel like they're being sold to, or it feels superficial. But when you're like, when you truly know it in your heart and in your mind, like, I don't care if this person joins me. Like, I need people, but I don't need any particular person. And there's endless amounts of people. That people are. That is a endless resource. You know, just in the United States, there's 300 million. I think you heard me say this. You can go screw it up on 100 million. There's still 200 million left over. You're not going to run out of people. Right. So just knowing that, you should have the confidence to know, hey, it may not be this person. And quite honestly, if they don't identify themselves as ambitious and open-minded, if they're just not your person, then why would you want them on your team anyway?
Right. Like,
sift and sort and find the people that are praying at night saying, God, send me something. Like, I'm ready. I just need the opportunity. I'm ready to go, because that's who I was. I was so hungry to be successful. I had something inside of me that knew I was just meant for something bigger. And there's so many people out there like that, just waiting for you to talk to them. So you may have to sift and sort through a few. Just know, if this person shoots you down, or if they're not open-minded, or if they're pessimistic or skeptical, that's fine. Let them be that way. Let them continue to do what they're doing, because quite honestly, we need people working regular jobs out there too. Otherwise, the world won't go around. I don't want to carry my bags at the hotel. I don't want to fly around. I don't know how to fly a plane. I don't want to go behind the counter at Starbucks when I used to drink Starbucks and go make my own coffee, right? We need those people there to do that stuff too. So find the people that are looking for you, because they're out there. You just got to give it enough time.
Right. And the thing is too, when you got to convince someone to join, you got to convince them to get on the monthly order. You got to convince them to get on the calls. You got to convince them to ATM their face off. Yeah. Right. You got to convince them to do their posts. You got to convince, convince them not to quit. That's the worst. You know, it seems like, I think I'm going to quit. I'm like, I mean, that sucks. I mean, your loss, not mine. I don't say this thinking it, right? You got to remember, y'all got the cookie, right? Those of you watching this, you have an opportunity. It ain't for everybody. But that's not, our goal isn't to convince people against their will, because they're going to remain of the same opinion still. There's no point in convincing people. I would rather just go, and you talked about this, right? We talk about this all the time, right? Sorting, not selling, right? Amateurs sell, professionals sort. Right. We're just shucking oysters, y'all. We're not here to beg and convince anybody to join our team. Now, sometimes you have to overcome, and I did a whole training on this last week on common questions and objections. It was like a 50-minute training, y'all. I went into some deep detail on overcoming every objection you can imagine. But at the end of the day, I'm not trying to convince someone. I'll encourage, I'll make recommendations, but I want to have more of the consultant mentality. Like, I'm giving you a consultation. Think about a doctor, a dentist. They're not trying to beg and convince you to take the surgery or do the procedure. Like, they're just making recommendations. It's up to you, right? It's up to you. But I'm just telling you, based on my medical advice, right? Based on my experience, you should do this, and you can take it or leave it, right? You can go get a second or third opinion. But at the end of the day, they're not trying to beg and convince. At least I don't feel like that. When I speak to a medical professional, I don't feel like they're trying to sell me. I don't feel like they have commission breath. I think they're advising based on their opinion. Now, we can get into a whole other conversation about whether I completely trust some of the advice that they give. That's a whole other conversation. But I'm just saying, I don't want you feeling like you're supposed to be selling and convincing. All right. That's what amateurs do. Now, the other thing I would like to know from you, Justin, is how do you make it like a process that you can just plug them into? Like, what would you do when someone says, what's the next step? Or tell me more about your product. It could be someone you're reaching out to, or they're reaching out to you. What is that next step so you can get them plugged into the systems so they can see the process that's in place?
That's such a good question. It's something that I struggled with in the past. And I love the fact that it's so systematic here in the ATM system. It's so simple, which duplicates. Complexity is the enemy of execution. So if it's too hard for somebody to do it, they're not going to do it. So, and selling, so like people want to know, like, can I do it? Will I have, like, does this work? Can I do it? Will I have help? Well, the can I do it part, if you have to be the whole show, like if you're the message and you're the salesman, or like you're selling this, they're thinking to themselves, I can't do that. Like when the whole time you're convincing, like you said, and selling them, they're thinking, I'm going to have to go do this to my friends, and I don't want to be a salesman. So if you can plug them into a system, they're thinking, I can do this. I can add somebody to a Facebook group. I could put somebody in a group chat. You know, it's just not difficult. An 8-year-old could do it, quite honestly. And, you know, I wanted to say something that before I forget, you know, when you were asking me, when you were talking a second ago about just the mindset philosophy of convincing. But before I go to that, let me say this about the system, because I don't want to get off that. I'm very ADD, so my mind goes way faster than I can keep up.
I think we can all relate.
Yeah. So when everybody's on the same page, when you have a system and everyone's doing the same thing, it creates synchronicity amongst the group. So when everyone's doing their own thing and trying different things in different ways, one person's doing this, it creates chaos. And chaos won't just won't duplicate. And, you know, part of scaling a business, that leveraged income that you talk about, if you think of the cash flow quadrant, having a B quadrant business that's scalable to where you're leveraging your time, systems are what create that. So when you have something that's simple, duplicatable, and can scale, then that's what makes it work. That's what creates the residual income that people are looking for. But going back to my mental philosophy as far as recruiting, it's a mixture of two things. So one, I think about me and my friends sitting around like, hey, what if we could start a business together that had, you know, tremendous earning potential? And like you can pick and choose your friends and your buddies to be in business with you. I think of it that way. A part of my brain thinks of it that way. And then I also think of it like you were talking about professional athletic, you know, departments, recruiting, corporate America. So I also think of it as kind of like being a talent scout. Yeah. So like I'm interviewing people to see if they qualify to be a part of what I'm doing. So like a lot of people, when they go in, and I had a good friend of mine, a mentor of mine in the past, shared this philosophy with me. But a lot of people, when they're sharing this business, they feel like that person's interviewing them and their business to see if it's good enough for them to join. But if you flip that mindset and you're thinking, hey, I'm interviewing this person to see if they're open-minded, if they're ambitious enough to qualify to be a part of what I'm doing. Like you said, we got the cookie, right? So I think it's just that simple, that perspective shift. If you think about, hey, you're the one doing the interview and not them, then it's going to give you that confidence to say, hey, if it's not who I'm looking for, if you were a boss interviewing someone and they come and they're trying to pick your job apart, like, is this really, you know, what you say it is? How much am I going to make? Like, and they're just questioning you, and you're the boss and you're interviewing them, and there's a line of freaking people down the hallway waiting to interview for that position. How long are you going to sit there and let them pick you apart? You're going to say, don't worry about it. Next, you know, come on in. And you're just going to interview the next one. So
I don't think this is for you. Right.
Yeah, I don't think this is for you. Exactly.
Right. No, I love that. That's such a good point. In fact, I remember back in the day, you know, we were taught to, you know, ask certain questions like, what's your goal? You know, how much time do you have? You know, have you ever done anything like this before? And it's like, wow, well, that's like really, you know, you're being very inquisitive, right? And it's like, yeah, because I'm looking at, and you're not, again, we want to be very careful with making sure you all that are watching this, like some of the things we say, it's more of a mentality than like, I'm not saying this to people, but my mentality is I'm going to put a lot of time and effort into working with you. And if you're high maintenance or you're just kind of like giving me the heebie-jeebies, like I don't want to partner with you, right? And it's like you said, it's like if you're starting a company and you're, you know, creating your board of directors, your top executives, like you're not just going to ask like random people in the street, right? Like you're going to want to interview those people and make sure they are a good fit. They're a good human. You know, a lot of times I'll go look at someone's social media. Like if they're posting things that are like, really weird. And I had a guy, actually, I'm just thinking about this. This was probably 2 months ago. And he kept saying things that were just a little like off-putting. And then I went and looked at his social media and he just posts really strange things multiple times a day that get zero engagement. And I'm like, my intuition was right. Like I have no desire to enroll this person. And it's not that he had bad engagement. It's just that he was saying things that were just strange. and red flags started going up. And I go and look at his page and I'm like, I ain't rolling this guy. Defriended him. And I remember he even messaged me like, hey, did you defriend me? And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm just, trying to make more room for people on Facebook, which was true, but also you post weird things, right? So I love that you mentioned that. I think that is so crucial. And again, it's a mindset. It's a mentality when talking to people. Jordan, what would you say when someone's like, hey, I'm interested. Tell me more. What is in fact, I'd like you to touch on two things. What is your process if they're interested in the business? And then what is your process, if you don't mind, they say, what's that product?
What was the second one? What's that product?
What's the product, right? So person interested in product, person interested in business.
Okay, so I do it a little bit different than most people. And I have that same mentality that I am interviewing people, right? You guys, one of the biggest mindset shifts I think it's really important to make in this industry is you don't want everyone. You want the right people, okay? You want people that are like you. And one of the reasons I love TikTok is because I can show up the most authentically over there. I feel like I could be the most myself and not give a crap over there because they just like it. They like authenticity over there, okay? So I am more me there than I am on any other social media platform. And I attract my people. Good marketing attracts and repels. It attracts people like you. It repels people that aren't your people. So I think it's important to show up and be you to attract the right people, first of all, or to have the right people say yes, because they've been watching you and they can line up with what your values are, what your vision is, what your personality may or may not be. So you don't want to be fake on social because you're going to be attracting people that once they start working with you are like, wait, it's like dating. If you're pretending to be someone you're not, and then all of a sudden you realize we are not compatible because that was fake. You know what I'm saying? So it's exactly the same, I think, in business. Once I switched my mindset to I want to attract the right people and I only want to ask people that I would like to work with. How crazy, right? People that are positive, because you do have to work with these people. You do have to work with them. It is important that you actually like these humans. So I only ask people that are positive and people that I would want to work with. And now that's about where I draw the line. Because if I don't care if they don't get good engagement on social, I mean, if they're posting weird things, that's a whole nother thing. But I don't care if they get good engagement on social. I don't care if they have experience in the industry, X, Y, and Z, because you're not God. We don't get to decide who would crush this. We don't get to decide who needs this. I didn't get good engagement when I started in this industry, right? What if someone would have been like, oh, she's probably not interested. So the point is, do not think you know what someone is capable of. I've signed up many of people I thought would explode that did nothing. I've signed up many people that I thought would do nothing that exploded and are some of my biggest leaders. So I do not play God when it comes to who. In the beginning, I always say you make up in numbers what you lack in skill. So I was going to people in the beginning, right? I was being an asshole. So sorry, John, I should have gotten that approved, but I was just asking everyone, literally everyone. And if they were open to taking a look, and then I shifted to positive, and now people are typically coming to me from TikTok or from Facebook. And what I do is I actually have them fill out like a little Google form, and it's like a little application. It just says like about how much they want to make. It asks them if they're positive, coachable, and willing to learn and grow, right? It asks them what they're most proud of as far as their accomplishments go. It's kind of like a screening process in a way, right? But you don't have to do anything like that. You don't have to be fancy like that. But I think it's still important to ask those questions to people. Are you positive? Are you coachable? Are you willing to learn and grow? I say to people always, I'm like, are you willing to suck at something long enough to get good at it? Are you willing to fail forward? This is a business. It's not going to happen overnight. Don't want you to have unrealistic expectations. So are you patient, persistent, and consistent? These are all questions I ask people when I'm talking to them about the business. I think that coming from that posture, people realize, oh, I have to take this seriously. But you're also, again, you're setting realistic expectations that they're not going to sign up and get rich. This business is not a get rich quick business. It is a get rich slow business, which is better than a normal job because that's get rich never, right? I did a TikTok that said that. And that is a Bob Hyland quote. I can't even steal it, but it's good. Put it in your back pocket and use it later. But I don't want people to come into this and think they're going to get lucky. Like John was talking about earlier, I want them to know that it's going to take work. It's going to take sucking at something to get good, embracing the suck, as he said. So that's how I do it. I have them fill out a little application, and then I use the ATM system for everything. So don't be a tool, point to tools. Point them to a Facebook group that has more information. Point them to a video that you did or someone else did, preferably someone else, that explains what it is you do. And then you ask them what they like best about it. They tell you. It's important to ask what they like best, not what did you think, because human beings are inherently negative and they will go to what's wrong. They tell you what they like best. You agree with them. You say, oh my gosh, I love that too. And then you point them to a three-way chat. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw you in a chat with some of the ladies or some of the people I work with so you can hear their stories a little bit, see how everything works, and we can go from there. It's so simple. And like Justin said, a kid could do it, but you're also training them from the very first time you talk to someone, from the very first time you open your mouth, whether you're talking about products or business, you are training them what they're going to have to do. And if you make yourself the expert and you start word vomiting and giving them a ton of information, regurgitating facts and figures, they're going to be like, what did she do? Well, I can't do that. I don't have time to memorize all that information. Like, that's too much, right? So it's harder for you to be the expert, but it's also a huge turnoff to your people. And then they're going to try and duplicate that when they get started, or they'll say no because it's too much. So, and I do literally the exact same thing for the products. I'm consultative. I ask what their goals are, right? So that I can help guide them to what would be the best decision for them. I always end with questions, consultative selling, right? It's, you're talking to them, you're asking them about their goals, and you're helping them find a solution. So I don't have a little questionnaire I have people fill out. I just ask them, what are your goals, right? What are your biggest struggles with reaching your health goals? And then I kind of guide them, and I use the ATM system for that as well.
That's awesome. And for those of you that are not aware, obviously ATM, add tag message, we're simply adding prospects to a group, tagging them in a video that explains the product, that explains the opportunity, because it's so much easier to use the tool. Number one, typically a tool is it's audio and visual, right? It's a video versus us just explaining it to them so they can see it versus just hear it. And the other thing is you explain to them like, look, and you mentioned this, Jordan, all you have to do is what I'm doing with you right now. I'm adding you to a group. I'm tagging you in a video. And if you get started, that is the exact same thing you'll do. And then tomorrow, people always say, well, do I have to ask for permission for the group chat? No, but you also shouldn't do it without telling them. So you just say, listen, when I follow up with you tomorrow, I'm going to introduce you to some of the incredible people I work with. So you told them that's the next step. I'm going to follow up with you tomorrow and introduce you to some of those people. So you didn't ask for permission, but you did give them a heads up that it's going to happen when you follow up tomorrow. And then tomorrow you introduce them to a few people. You edify them and introduce them, meaning the people that are already on the team, to your prospect. And then you let them tell their stories. You let those individuals that you're introducing them to do some talking, do some rapport building, maybe ask a question or two. And I'm telling you, even today, I get myself out of the way and it significantly increases my close ratio. The sooner I introduce my prospect to someone else, the sooner they're going to get started. And again, when it comes to the duplication, right? The system, save yourself time, energy, and money. How exciting is it that you've literally just demonstrated the system with them by taking them through the process? Not only will you increase your close ratio, but when they get started, you're going to go, remember how I did it with you, right? I add you to the group, tagged you in the video, put you in a group chat. All you got to do is the same exact thing. And that's why you really want to get that system dialed in. And it's important not just for you, because remember, this business isn't about you. It's about who you can help. So if you're out there winging it and you're uncoachable, you're being selfish, because the problem is if you finally start enrolling people and you're winging it, people can't follow a strategy that is all over the place. Like, it's going to overwhelm, it's going to confuse, you're going to bring people in, they're not going to get results, they're going to quit, right? And it's kind of like back in the day, offline, we were always changing the way we were doing things. And then once we finally had a system for offline building, our team blew up. Our business blew up. In fact, that's when I fired my boss. In fact, part of that system was going after high caliber people, recruiting up, going after A players, and then getting them to follow this system that absolutely exploded, but it was offline. So once we had a system dialed in for online, we went from 6 figures a year to 6 figures a month. And there's no reason why every single person watching this, you can't create an online system, especially if you're already using the ATM strategy. And I'm telling you, Justin, Jordan, myself, we're all using this system for exposure. Your goal is to have more conversations, whether it's through attraction marketing or prospecting proactively, to get more people open, to then get them into a group, to tag them in a video. And then once you get good at the front end, the back end is actually pretty simple, because all you're doing is getting yourself out of the way and letting other individuals tell their stories. And again, you're duplicating from there. And it's crazy, because once we had this system dialed in and we got more and more people on board with the system, we saw people that had never had success finally winning in this business, finally going out there and making some serious money. And for some people, by the way, serious money could be an extra $500 a month. It could be an extra $1,000 a month. They're out there getting customers, consistently retaining customers, getting customers to refer other customers, and it became game-changing, life-changing. And again, it's not about you. So when you get so fixated on like, you're worried about rejection, you're worried about failure, you're worried about, leading people, it ain't about you. Just remember the system is in place for a reason. And whatever company you're in, again, I don't care what kind of products you're selling. Almost every company has a process, a system, an onboarding launch system. So just get that system dialed in and just keep doing it over and over and over again. And even if 100 people tell you no, that's just 100 not yets. Not yet, not now. You're planting seeds every conversation, every interaction. And I promise you, there are people right now that you're connected with, people that you've already talked about your business or products. They haven't joined yet. They haven't bought the products yet. They haven't joined the team yet, but they will eventually if you keep showing up and doing the work. So Justin and Jordan, how would you like to close this out? Like any final tips, anything you feel like I'd really like to mention this one last thing or these couple things to help people that really want to start recruiting and crushing it? Justin, we'll start with you and Jordan, we'll close it out with you.
Yeah, I'll share one little pro tip. It was a hidden gem in what you were just talking about when you said, when you were talking about edifying the person in the group. I think a common mistake, and I don't know if it's just naturally they want to do this, but a common mistake when someone's introducing like third-party credibility is they tend to want to edify their prospect to the leader, like, oh, this girl can crush it or this guy can crush it. And then they come in the group and they're thinking they're the one with the leverage, they're the hot shot. And it should be the exact opposite. If I'm introducing my prospect to say Jordan, they're going to think they're talking in the freaking like baddest woman on the planet right now. And I'm going to edify her so much that they're going to pay attention and listen and be grateful to have her time for that, duration or of that call or that group chat. So make sure when you're edifying the leader, not the prospect. It's just a common mistake that I think people miss, and edification is so important. So Jordan, I'll kick it over to you.
Yeah, that's so true. So true. Because it gives them closing power, right? So they can help you because that person is like, who's this random person? So my big thing, I think, is just two things I always say. Number one is you need to guard your words. When it comes to, I think a lot of times we get stuck in these patterns and we say we suck at recruiting. I'm not good at recruiting, or I'm not good at TikTok, or insert whatever it is you haven't mastered yet. You say, I'm struggling with this. You need to guard your words, okay? The thoughts that you speak out loud, you get to keep those, right? If you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. So stop saying you're struggling. I want you to change your stuck statements into action statements. And the biggest thing is instead of saying, right, I'm not good at this, say, I haven't mastered this yet, but I'm going to show up until I do. I haven't figured it out, but I kept saying, I literally was posting in our team group. I was like, I am not going viral on TikTok yet, but I am stubborn. So I'm going to show up until I do, right? That was my words of progression, my action statements, rather than saying just, I suck at this. Haven't mastered it yet, but I'm going to show up until I figure it out. What are your chances of mastering something if you show up until you master it? 100%. So you have to change the way you talk about what it is you want to improve at, or else you're not going anywhere. Okay, so that's the first thing. But the second thing is you need to take more action. You need to get really good at listening to yourself less, talking to yourself more, and taking more action, because action is the antidote to fear. And if you have enough time to think about how you suck at something or you're struggling at something, you have enough time to go take action to get better at it, my friend, right? So I think that 9 out of 10 times when someone says they're not good at something, it's because they're not practicing enough, and you practice by doing, right? You get better by learning how to ride a bike. You literally have to get on the bike. So you have to go ask people. There are more people than mistakes you can make. So you're going to make mistakes, but that's okay. That's a part of the process. So action is the antidote to fear. And you need to go out there and just ask more people if they're open and fail forward, and you will get better at it. But the reason I can do what I can do, and I guarantee that Justin and John can do what they do, is because they have been ignored by a lot more people. They have sucked at it a lot more, right? I have a lot more people ignoring me right now than you probably do. But that's just because I talk to so many people, but I don't have time to worry about the ones that aren't ready right now because I'm so busy doing all the other things, and you need to do that too, and it will change everything.
Well, I love that you talked about action, because I think it's so important to work on yourself. Personal development's everything. Read the books, listen to the podcast, listening to a training like this. But honestly, I have never learned something from a book that was more powerful than what I learned from the action taking. Action taking is the number one thing that matters most. And, look, even if you're failing, like you mentioned, you're failing forward. I failed my way to the top, and it took me 7 years, y'all, to create a full-time income in network marketing. But because of network marketing, I'm a better dad, a better husband, I'm a better leader, I'm a better citizen to society. If y'all knew me back in the heyday, you'd understand. I quit drinking because of network marketing. Like, network marketing changed my life. I met my wife in network marketing. Like, there's been so many other positive side effects outside of, making millions of dollars and becoming a top earner. All those things are great, but I'm telling you, it's the person you'll become through the process. And that personal development, like, you look at Justin, you look at Jordan, you look at anybody we ever have on our show, you look at the leaders inside of whatever company you're in, the top leaders, they didn't get lucky. They might've gotten lucky with one leg. They might've gotten lucky to some extent because they got in early. And I'll tell you this, if there's anyone that's ever truly lucky in network marketing, it's maybe someone that got in early and, they recruited a couple people that went off. But if that company goes out of business, those people that did not develop themselves into the leader they need to be, if that company goes bye-bye, that person will never, ever be able to build again. And I can tell you, I've had 2 companies get shut down. I had another company I walked away from after 7 years. I've had to rebuild multiple times, and we built it bigger and better every time. Now, I'll say it like this. I hope to God I never have to rebuild again. There's nothing worse than having to start all over, especially if you put that much of your heart and soul into something. But there's no way I could have rebuilt. There's no way I could have overcame my last company getting shut down by the FTC, or another company suing me for $2.5 million, which was all BS. There's no way I could have overcame any of that, or all the other stuff that I've dealt with in my life. I know all of us have dealt with some ish. You can't overcome any of that if you don't work on you. And you read all the books, you can listen to all the podcasts, go through all the courses, but taking action is the number one key to success. Fail forward, fail often, and get yourself more uncomfortable. So Justin and Jordan, I appreciate the heck out of you.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, Justin, absolutely.
It'll be really fast. But Jordan said the word master in there, and I just wanted to say this so bad because, you've mastered this. She's mastered this. So many people are out there, and like you guys are talking about, and if you're going to master something, why not master something that can set you free and give you the lifestyle of your dreams? So many people are like, well, I want to master my job. You can master that job for the next 30 years. It's never going to pay you the lifestyle of your dreams. Well, I want to master this video game, or I'll master this or this, some stupid crap. But why not master something? Put the time in, suck at it, but give it enough time. But why not master something, even if it takes you 5 years? The next 5 years is going to pass anyway. Master something that can set you free for your family, for your kids, and so many other people that you'll impact, because this could absolutely do it. So I just wanted to say that, John. Back to you.
You nailed it, dude. I mean, mastery is everything, right? It takes 10,000 hours to master something. Why put 10,000 hours into mastering video games like you mentioned, right? Unless you're going to become the next ninja. I think there's some kid that does actually make millions of dollars playing video games, but who wants to play video games 12 hours a day if you're not a child, right? So anyway, I appreciate you, Justin. I appreciate you, Jordan. Y'all should follow both of them. They're 2 of the best leaders that I've ever worked with. And again, they're out there with humility. They're out there being vulnerable. They're out there sharing their stories. They're out there doing the dang thing. And they take massive action, faux show. So I appreciate you guys. You're amazing. Happy Money Monday, everybody. Yes, we will be here next Money Monday as well, 5 p.m. Eastern. Every single week we go live with another training just for you. So make sure you subscribe so when we go live, you get notified, and visit our website for more training just like this, mylifestyleacademy.com. You both are amazing. J Squared out. Later, guys.